The government's COVID-19 relief package is in no man's land after House Republicans blocked the Democrats' attempt to side with President Trump and more than triple the size of stimulus checks for most Americans to $2,000. Here's what House Majority Leader Steny, a Democrat, had to say.
As we saw today, Republicans in Congress and the White House can't agree on what they want. Again, this bill passed overwhelmingly through the House of Representatives and the United States Senate.
Bloomberg congressional reporter Anna Edgerton joins us live on the phone from Washington. Anna, I really hope that we're not back to square one. Can you break down for us what happened on the floor today?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, the president said that he wanted $2,000 checks. Now, the bill that Congress passed on Monday with government funding, coronavirus relief, all of these important things, had $600 checks. So Trump's demand for larger checks came as a bit of surprise, especially to Republicans who had kind of been negotiating on his behalf. So now Democrats say, great, we would love to send out more money to the American people. And they tried to pass a bill on the floor today that would basically just strike 600 from the current legislation and make that 2,000. So that would make those stimulus checks be worth $2,000 for most individuals and for children. Republicans blocked that attempt, and since it was just a pro forma session, they couldn't do a roll call vote, but they do plan to come back on Monday and do a roll call vote on a similar bill that would increase those checks to $2,000.
It's rare that AOC and Nancy Pelosi would be on the same side as President Trump. Now, assuming that this new bill passes on Monday when the House goes back on the floor, what's the likelihood that this can get through the Republican-controlled Senate?
I don't think Mitch McConnell will even put it on the floor. I mean, McConnell said all along that we need to keep the cost of the stimulus effort low. You know, he's been trying to keep it below $1 trillion, which isn't low, but, you know, compared to the more than $3 trillion Democrats tried to do initially, it would be. So Senate Republicans have not embraced Trump's call for larger stimulus checks. And since they control the Senate floor, I don't expect it will even get a vote.
Okay, so again, it feels like we're kind of at square one. Now, the COVID relief bill was tied up with a bill to fund the government, and so you have this deadline of December 28th. Are we on a path to a government shutdown here?
There are a few things that Congress could do, even if President Trump doesn't sign the coronavirus relief and government spending bill. When the House meets on Monday, they could pass a stopgap spending measure, just like the ones that they've been passing to get us through these, weeks of negotiations to keep the government up and running. So if they pass that on Monday, the Senate could take that up on Tuesday. And I actually do think they would do that because the House and Senate are planning to be in session anyway to override Trump's veto on the National Defense Authorization Act, which was another piece of drama this week. But since they're going to be in Washington anyway, they will be able to vote on this stopgap measure if they need to keep the government open.
Okay, so the government will be able to stay open, but COVID relief is still elusive. Meantime,
Exactly.
The president has been pretty busy with yet another day of pardons. Charles Kushner, Ivanka's father-in-law, and of course the father of Jared Kushner, which was long anticipated, Paul Manafort and Roger Stone, who both declined to cooperate with Robert Mueller's Russia probe. Is there anyone left in the Russia probe that President Trump has not yet pardoned?
Michael Cohen, who was his so-called fixer and testified against Trump in Congress. And so, it's been really interesting to see who has gotten a pardon and who hasn't. The people that Trump has reached out to pardon are those people who stood up to federal prosecutors and kind of defied any kind of cooperation with the investigation. Whereas Michael Cohen, who appeared, testified, was very contrite about everything that he had done for the Trump organization for decades. He is still serving out his sentence, and it looks like he will not get a pardon.
Yeah, exactly. He crossed President Trump, so it's unlikely he'll get any relief there. The president has, 3 to 4 weeks left in office, so that's a lot of time to issue more pardons. And there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of talk that maybe he will preemptively pardon his family or maybe even himself. We know Bill Barr has already stepped down as the Attorney General, and now Jeff Rosen is serving as the acting Attorney General. If President Trump decides to go ahead with these preemptive pardons for himself and his family, would Jeff Rosen be the one defending this action?
Yeah, we don't know what Jeff Rosen would do. This could be one of the reasons why Bill Barr wanted to step down before the end of Trump's term, because he didn't want to deal with this. And, Rosen does have experience in the Justice Department, but he's a bit of an unknown quantity. There was a report from NPR that quoted an unnamed federal official who said Rosen is likely to be even more of a loyalist to Trump than Bill Barr was. So, we'll see where he would land on this. But when he was asked about it by Reuters earlier this month, he declined to weigh in on what he would do.
Well, he will definitely have his work cut out for him, because I think the president's going to be pretty busy, or want to be pretty busy, over the next 3 to 4 weeks. Anna Edgerton in Washington, thank you so much for your time.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.